Hello, I am Jody Wolf, and you're watching Expoz. It is December 25, 2018. Getting late in the year, 12:08 a.m. Now, I'm going to read a list of things that, and some of these came to me. Look, I pray at 8 p.m. daily or nightly. But during the day, I may pray one or two or three or five more times. Depends on just depends on not anything special, but something may trigger something that I'll stop and I'll pray for it. And when I go to bed at night, whatever time that may be, I pray then as well. Well, let me tell you, I've had two of my prayers not interrupted, but thoughts came into me that I felt like I needed to include in here. And I'll tell you when I get to that time. And it was short, but I just want to tell you. But I have a list of small things here that's going to maybe perk your interest a little bit or maybe answer a question that you may have. But starting with Mattis, he quit. Why did he quit? Well, there's no war for him. Has nothing to new. I'm sorry. It's no big deal. It's just that Mattis has known war for 40 years. Vietnam. And then here we go into Iraq. That's all he's known. Guys, he's known war for 40 years. And now that Trump is honoring his pledge to you and I, he's going to remove the remaining few people out of Syria. And I think another location. And Mattis gets up and quits. Well, he's probably thinking in his mind, well, no war, I'm not needed. That's okay, Mattis. We appreciate your service. And goodbye to Mattis. But what hit me, that this is what he's talking about. If it takes war to keep Mattis on, then I say, go home, Mattis. We don't want war. We don't want it. War is good for nothing. All right. Now, and I'm going to have probably a couple of places here, could the letter have been a simple word on it that went around to everyone at George Bush Sr.'s at his funeral? Could a single word have been on this letter, like gotcha? That would be enough to terrify those people. You know that. George Bush, they had to hold on to him to keep him standing up. He couldn't hardly walk. It's like the life was sucked out of him. And then when his brother read it, Jeb, he had his hand here proudly over here when his dad was going by and he saw it, and the air went out of him and his hand dropped. There was fear and sheer terror in his heart. I could tell he was afraid. And Laura that showed it to him, she too looked like she could have had a nervous breakdown right there. So I believe the letters were short, and it was like, no one knows what they got, but their faces gave us 1,000 words. You heard that saying, a picture is worth 1,000 words. Well, their faces are worth that 1,000 words. The blood drained out of their face. So if you were to move, and here's another subject, 10% of our population, then we would have a very hard time until we got the deadbeats to work. In other words, you have the Hispanics here doing most of the construction. Remove them. We're going to struggle until we get the bums who are still sucking on a hind tit off and working. That's all they know. They haven't worked for so long. They don't know how to work. So I just wanted to throw that in, and I'm going to get there again. California's populace, the most of the home building in California are done by Hispanics. If you remove those, then California will cease to offer anything to the United States. They have nothing to offer. There's no one to build the homes, no one to work the plantations, the giant farms out there. So California would just go deeper into a welfare state, as they have been for a long time. And you and I are paying that price. Hispanics are doing all the work, and all the bums are still being bums. And it's going to take them a while to get off their butts to go to work. And there needs to be a strict law about that. The Bible says clearly, if you don't work, you don't eat. So that's what would happen in California. So we're going to take it back. I've never seen so many notes passed around in a funeral in all my life. And when I say passed around, Clinton, Obama, both, or Bush, and Biden, tickled me for Biden to get that one. And could you see that when Clinton opened her program, this note dropped out? And Jimmy Carter watched her do that. So he opened his notebook and started fanning it. He was hoping something would drop out for him, but it didn't. But he's lucky that it didn't. But that was interesting that note dropped out and Carter couldn't find his. All right, Pence got a small folded note from a woman. If you recall, the last person he shook hands with, a short woman, brunette, in his right hand, she slipped him a note, and Pence quickly put it in his pocket, in his right coat pocket. Now, let me say this. You heard those saying, keep your friends close, keep your enemies closer. Why is Pence the vice president? Maybe for a reason. Maybe it's to keep Trump's enemy closer. Because I see things, and I have been seeing things for over a year now, that make me question Pence. And I'm sure some of you have too. And but when he put it in his right pocket here, notice every note that was passed, like the bald-headed guy on the right end, as you're looking as the funeral's coming down, he passed a note, like a thick note, like several pages, to Bush. Bush didn't bother to look at it because he's already seen it. But he showed it or gave it to his wife. She looked at it, and her face went from fair to white, and she showed it to Ghwb, and all the air just went out of him. No one knows what the note read. The note could have simply read in code, most likely in code, so that if anyone dropped it, the average Joe couldn't pick it up and read it. They wouldn't know what it said or what it meant. Like some people are saying something about a knothole. I don't know. But that's my guess, is that the notes were coded, and those who knew what it meant are the very ones that's going to suffer from it. So all these notes clearly disturbed a lot of people. And again, I also heard a year ago about Pence. And And here it is. During prayer at 4:10 a.m., this is 4 nights ago, this thought came to my prayer. We hear many angels will come upon man and kill and destroy many during the 7-year tribulation. Well, maybe not. We're hearing that from Steve Quayle. So maybe not. Maybe it's just the 3 that will be released from the river Euphrates. I don't recall anywhere reading another number of angels. I do demons, however. Either way, it's going to be bad. Doesn't matter if it's 3 or 3,000 or 3. It's going to be bad. And 4:05, 2 nights later, which is last night, another. During prayer, it came to me, for God, there's no deadline. And I'm talking about a wall here. If the House takes over, when they take over in January, so what? That doesn't matter to God. God won't be defeated. And in early 2019, you will see funding for that wall. Complete funding, enough funding for that wall. So that came to me in a prayer. And so I usually try to insert these somewhere. But I wanted to get this thing out. And the only big puzzle is no one knows what the note said. But in my opinion, if anyone were to drop one, and that could easily happen, they're coded. No one else would have been able to read them anyway. Jody Wolf Expoz.